here in Acapulco, visiting our good friends John and Lily, and of course the one and only Rebel Dog, all of whom fled across the border to Acapulco because they were facing a 25-year prison sentence, all for making cannabis extracts for pain management, and this is their story. All right, we're here with John and Lily once again. Guys, thanks so much for inviting me into this kick-ass pad in Acapulco. It's been, almost one full year or just over a year?
Just about a year.
Just about a year since you've been here, just about a year since I was here last time. Tell us a little bit about some updates. People are going to be wondering how it's been going in Acapulco. Last time we talked, it was only a few days after you had gotten here from running from the law. You're still here. Looks like things are going good. How's it been going?
Still running from the law,
yeah.
Legally speaking.
Tell us about how you've managed to, fund yourself out here.
It was through nice people, basically, who wanted to see the glass blowing thing happen, and us figuring out how to make it happen for no money at all.
We received about 1,000 in donations and about 500 to 700 in investment, where people own a profit stake.
So you got a decent startup going, and you've launched a glass blowing business, essentially, right?
Yeah, so various forms where she's independent artists, highly functional glass.
Yep, I've been doing production work too, and we're getting into the businesses, expanding the business much further, much
so her
bigger.
artist name is Lily Divine, and she does highly functional glass, but she's also now starting this Acapulco glass factory. I'm not sure what the name of it's going to be, but within the next month she's starting a glass factory here with a distributor here in Mexico.
And we had the luck of finding somebody who also knows about the business in the States, and
we luckily kind of called it right. Like when we first got here last year, we thought that this was the US 10-15 years ago. The market was just getting started, kind of that Wild West atmosphere. A lot of it's still under the table, a lot of it's backroom deals. And that's kind of what we wanted, because we didn't have the capital to duke it out in where the US is right now and deal with all the regulation and the red tape and jumping through hoops to be legit. And we wanted to be in a market where as long as you can deliver the product, you can make stuff happen. And it seems Mexico
like
is
here
that.
they don't care about the fact that up until 2 weeks ago my tools were handmade. I've distributed hundreds of pipes around Mexico, but they don't care because I was able to produce something that they
we're
could
competing
sell.
with cheap Chinese glass, and as long as we can produce something of equal quality at the same price or under, we can compete.
And I'm sure a lot of people are probably wondering, has there been any contact from any kind of American authorities at this point? Is anybody trying to figure out?
We're sure they know, like, at this point, like, we're just, we're trying to call out the corruption of the system.
We're not
People
trying to
like,
point fingers
this
at
isn't-
anybody. So.
We don't dislike America or anybody like that. Like, it's just the idea of statism, taxation is theft. Like, these are inherently wrong concepts, It's not.
And this is how they affect real people's lives, and that's all we're trying to show is how it's affected our lives, not necessarily look at these people. This is how it's affected us.
How is marijuana smoking, cannabis use in general viewed in Mexico?
It's still stigmatized like it was in the US and Canada 20 years ago. It still has that lazy, stupid stoner connotation, and it's actually used far less in Mexico than the US and Canada. 20% of people will admit to smoking marijuana, and it seems that's about how much of the population uses. The middle class is starting to come out of the closet with their marijuana use, and they're starting to demand high-end products. Like, as us Americans and people from Europe and stuff come into town with fancy vaporizer pens and stuff, like not the cheaper ones with $200-300 like a PAX or something like that. They see us with it, they're like, what's that? They try it, and then all of a sudden they're asking for it because it just wasn't something they had ever encountered before.
Yeah, and once word of mouth catches on, that'll spread for you. And just like in my industry, I need multiple revenue streams in order to survive, just as you guys do. And steemit, I recently found out, is another good one. Tell us about how that's been working for you. It looks like it's been generating some decent revenue for you guys.
Basically, you just have to have something worth writing about, something people want to read about, and if you're consistent and the right people upvote you, like, you can make a damn good living by Mexico standards. Like, in the States, most people look at my payouts like, oh, she's not making anything. But if I really, like, stay up on it, like, I don't have to pay my bills. I could just write steemit articles, which takes me 4 hours a day at most, you know. That's a lot of research and stuff involved, so it's...
Yeah, fortunately, we became one of the top 100 personalities within steemit fairly early on. Like, people just kind of liked our story, and it wasn't really any big person pushing us per se. It was just kind of constant, like...
Here and there we get, you know, upvotes from important people like Ned and Dan the Man, and...
Like, a lot of people have had bigger payouts than us, but we consistently have decent payouts, which has kind of allowed us to make a living.
Kept us going through the times when we didn't have any other way to float. Like, we, you know, weren't blowing glass for a while and
And we wanted
surviving
to
a
tell our
steemit.
story, and it gave us an avenue to do that, because we couldn't just sit down and focus on writing it without it somehow bringing in money. And
Yeah.
steemit has allowed us to do that. Like, our story would have been told another way, but this has allowed our story to be told quicker.
Yeah.
Because it will feed us right now, as long as we are getting the votes and everything.
So between the steemit, the extracts, the glass, you've managed to find out a way to be in a place like this. We're now in a different apartment. You guys have moved since last time I was here. This place is pretty sick. Tell us how you came across a house like this.
You drive up a mountain with the mission to be on top of it.
We were kind of drawn towards this specific mountaintop as soon as we got here. We happened to come up here looking for a house, and at the top of the mountain we found our dream house.
Yeah.
And then they let us move into it.
And it's amazing. We're 3-bedroom, 3-bath house, pretty much to Western standards, for about $400 a month with expenses.
Yeah.
This is my office, my glass blowing studio, my kitchen, restaurant, you know, this is pretty much all of our businesses bundled into one.
Do you think it's possible your charges could ever be dropped and they would just kind of look at this thing as being just a silly mistake of the past?
If the right laws pass, some of the country does pass laws that retroactively get rid of charges and people that are on the run from those charges. So far, our state that we're on the run from has passed medical, but they didn't include anything like that in the law. So when they pass recreational, they include something like that, or if on the federal level they include something like that. It is possible.
We're not betting on it.
We're not betting on it. We didn't hurt anybody, so we're just kind of going where we're valued, you know. And so far here, we're valued. They don't seem to mind us being here. You know, we've lived here a year with no issues, and we've added value. We've brought people here, we've brought money here, and we've tried to create value here ourselves. So,
What do you say to the people out there who might be thinking about maybe doing something similar, but they got all these fears hearing about crime rates in Acapulco, and, you know, how am I not going to get screwed over? Do you got any words of advice for people who are maybe thinking about doing the same thing you've done?
you gotta have common sense about it, but I'd say it's safer than any big city I've lived in the U.S., like way safer than Chicago or something like that. There's pockets of freedom all over the world if you're willing to live in freedom. Like, it's not just something where like people are gonna protect your freedoms for you. You do have to stand up for yourself, but there's so much that is more free about where we live here than where we came from. Like, you could never do what we've done where we came from.
And in terms of Acapulco, it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than anything I've experienced in the States. It's a great landing pad area for even people, you know, trying to move out of the country to come for a couple of months, because it is so easy to just come here, get a place, and live.
Literally, one person's expenses, $200 US a month or less. That could be $20,000 US though, if you want to live a certain type of lifestyle. But Acapulco has that for everybody. You know, you can live that whole range here in one city.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And experience the benefits of all of those lifestyles in one place. Like, I can go to a mall that's meant for rich people, and I can shop at a market that's meant for the poorest of the poor, and get value out of both of those places.
Awesome. All right. Well, any final thoughts on life in Acapulco after 1 year on the run?
Don't stop for cops.
Very well spoken.
Go for what you want to do. If you think it's not possible, maybe you're doing it in the wrong place.
Yeah, Acapulco is a good place to follow your dreams. Like if you have the lofty pie in the sky, I want to have a cupcake bakery, business, Acapulco's actually the place where you could do that and make money at it, whereas like in the States, you're just gonna get squashed by all getting started. So like the lofty dreams that you have, because glass was my lofty dream. Whatever that is, you can make it happen here, you just have to know how to do it.
Yeah, why slave away to build someone else's dream when you can move here and just create it for yourself? I think it's time for dabs.
Yes, time for dabs.
Let's do some dabs.